Welcome to the newest episode of Saved by the Books, where two ladies with opposite reading tastes discuss all things reading.
Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to another episode of Saved by the Books. We are back with an episode all about readathons because I know I've been asked on my YouTube channel, and we both also run a book club group for my planner sticker shop about readathons and what they are and all kinds of questions.
How to be successful, how to pick your books, all this type of stuff.
So that's what we are going to go over today. So first off, the obvious question is, what is a readathon? A readathon is where a bunch of people get together on social media, or I guess you could do it in real life. Yeah. But, I mean, you know, whatever. And they essentially just read a lot of books, or as many books as they can in a specified time period.
And there's usually prompts or challenges or things that kind of go along with it.
Yeah.
But not always. It really just kind of depends on who's running the readathon.
Yep. So, yeah, we are, I guess, kind of coming from, like, the fact that, like, we run readathons for the Creating Co Book Club, and we always have prompts for ours. Yeah. And that is to kind of make it a little bit more fun and maybe get you to kind of read outside of your comfort zone, and also to make it not so overwhelming. And, you know, just because why not?
Right. And if you are interested in like finding them, because I know we have created our own, but we also participate in readathons quite a bit. Little Book Owl she's on YouTube and Instagram, and she has her own website, but she actually has a calendar that lists all the readathons, which are great, which we'll link below.
Yeah.
But that's one way. And so there's so many different ones. Like I know right now
there's a few really popular ones. There's ones that are like the booktubeathon. I think that happens twice a year.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of booktubers will get together and make a bunch of prompts. That one's a lot of fun because there's video challenges and photo challenges involved. There's Tome Topple that is run by,
I know, I watched the video.
Oh my god, I just watched the video last night.
It. I'm
so like, what?
Oh,
what is her name? Tome Topple is the name of the readathon. I'm trying to think of what her actual channel is called.
Who is it? It's not popping.
I know her name is Sam, but I'm like, no.
I think isn't it Thoughts on Tome?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it totally slipped my mind. Like, if you had asked me any other day, I would have known.
Yeah. But, yeah, because that's coming up. And then
there's the Dewey's 24-hour readathon.
The Owls.
Yeah, the Owls, which is Book Roast.
Yeah, which is Book Roast. And she does the Newts in the fall. But, like, currently I'm doing the Owls, which is for the whole month.
And it's kind of based off of Harry Potter, like as if you were going into Hogwarts. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. Like I said, or like Becky said, we will link the calendar below, or on Twitter, whatever. We'll link it places.
And like, I know we talk about a lot in the Creating Co Book Club. We talk about the different readathons happening.
Yeah, which will also be linked down below. Yeah. We usually if anybody sees a readathon and we think it sounds fun, this is open to anybody. You can just like post like, hey, this readathon's happening. Is anybody else doing it? And yeah, join along that way. So
I guess with that, once you figure out, I think the biggest thing is figuring out if those dates of the readathon work for you. Yeah. So like I know,
like for example, today as we are recording, the Dewey's 24-hour readathon is happening. I didn't know about it until literally an hour after it started. And so it just so happens to be a pretty busy day. So I miss it once again. But
or there's sometimes since I'm a teacher, I'll look for the ones over my breaks. So that's when we'll kind of do it, is I'll participate in those, just because like I know the ones in August, I can't participate with the beginning of school and all that craziness going on. I mean, there's just no way. I may, but if I may attempt it and only read one book, which is okay in a readathon. That's what we'll talk about.
Yeah, primarily most readathons are there to like, because usually reading is such a solitary activity, so it's a way to kind of make it more of a group activity.
Right, and make it kind of fun, and you have that social aspect with people all over reading those books.
Yeah.
So, so I think we'll start off with how we actually pick the books. So for me, I try, especially now, I have a massive TBR. It's unreal how many books I truly have.
So first off, I primarily participate in readathons that have challenges just because those are more fun for me.
Yeah.
There are readathons that are just like literally like, hey, we're reading 24 hours, let's do this. Yeah. And those are fun too, but I don't know, I just like the challenges.
Right,
I
and
think
so
it makes it fun.
I'll use the challenges to pick and try to find books on my TBR.
Yeah.
So I do not have to go out and buy books because I don't know what it is. I know I can just go to the library and all of that. And
but it's so easy. It's like, it's like shiny syndrome. Like,
it is.
Like,
I want my own book.
This readathon, and so I'm gonna go buy a bunch of books for it.
A while ago, we went to Barnes & Noble, and I did go to Barnes & Noble last night, but Cody was with us, and I was like, oh, I gotta find this book, and I said, yeah, I'm like in the middle of reading it, and he's like, why are you buying a book that you're in the middle of reading? Well, I need the book to be on my shelf.
Yeah.
It's just one of those weird, I'm weird. I like having my own copy of the book.
Well, I mean, it's just like, okay, so I use the library a lot for like ebooks and stuff, and like inevitably I end up wanting to buy the book, and I'm like, why? Like, this is literally not the purpose of the library, but
so anyways,
here we are.
Yeah, so we'll pick books, one based off of challenges, but also I know most of our readathons it's for a week, and we do 5 challenges, with one being a group read. And so I'll always start with a group read.
Yeah.
Which
and
usually,
try to apply, at least for ours and most other readathons I've seen that have group reads, the group read usually applies to multiple challenges.
So, but then I'll pick like books that I can either find on Audible, because I have an almost hour drive to work. So during that time, that's when I will primarily, I'll get a bunch of reading in because I can listen to it on my commute, or I can listen to it during my planning period while I'm grading papers or any of that. But then I'll also try and pick sometimes the shortest books on my shelf, because I want to finish all the challenges. But reading 5 books that are, you know, over 300, 400 pages in a week, for me, that's completely unrealistic. But those that, you know, some people are super fast readers. Like, we have some in our groups that
She's
just
casually pointing to me.
I am sorry. Like, she is a super fast reader.
Okay, so I am a fast reader, but if I don't like a book, you're gonna know, because it's gonna take me weeks to finish.
Right. And see, when I like a book, it's the same reason, but it's because I don't want the book to, when I like a book, it takes me forever, because then I don't want to finish it. I'm really weird with that. But so that's how I think I pick books, is looking at my TBR, like my physical TBR, because like my electronic one, that's ridiculous, but my physical TBR is so big, I want to read those books, and I've done better with that. And then finding the shortest ones that I could
usually will look at the challenges and try to pick books on my TBR that I feel like reading. So we're from the planner community, as we've talked about, and so most of our readathons, people are like trying to plan like a month in advance because they're excited, and I totally get it, and I wish I could be that way, but I am literally like, the day the readathon starts, I'm like, what am I gonna read today?
Right. And see, I'll pick out my books kind of in advance sometimes, but then I always change it in the middle of the readathon. Because if I don't want to read a book, I'm not going to read it.
Yeah, I am such a mood reader, so I literally will wait until like the day the readathon starts, and then I will figure out what book I want to read. And then even if it's a longer book, because I want to read it, like it'll keep me interested, and like I want to finish it. And then I always try to, like, if there's 5 challenges, say I have 2 books I want to read, one applies to 3 challenges and one applies to 2 challenges, I'll read the one that applies to 3 challenges first, because that one, if that's the only book, it'll I'll finish more prompts faster.
And and then I don't feel guilty. And that's the thing, if I, like I said, because of my schedule, if I just am able to finish 1 book or 2 books, I'm totally okay with that, because that's still, I read a book in a week or 2 books in a week. And that, I mean, you know, some people, it does take them longer. So I try to keep it realistic, because things happen.
Yeah.
And I know,
and yeah, I feel like a lot, like some people try to like beat themselves up a little bit, like they don't
put the
finish
pressure
a book.
on them.
And I'm like, guys, it's just reading.
And I mean, I think
okay.
reading should be fun and enjoyable, so there shouldn't be stress when it comes to fitting everything in with a readathon. And so
which comes to our next point, which is a lot of readathons also have photo challenges, or like BookTubeathon has video challenges. Here and there for our readathons, like we did a scavenger hunt one time. We'll do like different events like that. And anything that's extra for the readathon, I try to prep as much as possible in advance. That way I don't have to stress about it, because especially for photo challenges, I am not going to take a photo every day. I'm just not going to do it.
Well, and see, and I'll have good intentions to actually participate in the photo challenges.
Yeah,
and I'll have like, you know, I can always get the TBR stack photo, because, but like I said, my TBR changes so much that it's not going to be realistic by the end of the week. But I can always get that. But most of the other ones, unless it's during summer when I'm off, I will not do any of them.
Okay, here's the real hard truth about my life, you guys. I don't do anything every single day except for sleep and go to the bathroom. So, I mean, I eat every day. I talk to my husband every day. But like, as far as like any kind of like workout routine, diets, photo challenges, what else would you intend to do every day but you're not gonna do?
And
I have no idea.
Journal, right?
Journal, right? Anything like that, I am not going to do it every day. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so I've come to realize that about myself, and so I try to help myself out a little bit. Sometimes past page doesn't like helping future page, and future page always gets upset about that. But yeah, so anything that's extra, I try to do as much of it in advance as I can. Sometimes they don't announce things
until like
far in advance. So, I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And above all though, like I said, I just don't beat myself up if I don't get it done.
But I think
it's supposed to be fun.
The whole planner side to us is that we want to know what we have to do. And so if it's only announced the week before, or if like we just found out about the Dewey one today,
an hour after it started.
I mean, we just, it's not feasible.
I was even laying in bed and it had started like an hour before, and I was like, I mean, maybe I could read like one book today, and then I could like vlog it, and then I could post the vlog tomorrow. And then like I got up and started cleaning my kitchen, and I was like, yeah, that's not happening. So
so, and with that it comes, I know people struggle to read
kind
5
of
books,
actually
or like managing the time of how do I get reading in when I do have a full-time job, or I have kids, or, you know, all these other responsibilities.
Or a chronic illness.
Yes, I mean, because for us, I know Paige deals with like having a migraine almost daily. It really has become that. And for me, I usually have something 1 or 2 times a week, and it just depends on the season. But it is possible, I feel like, for me to manage time, because when I do readathons, I'm still working, and I leave for work by no later than 6 a.m. I know this is crazy. And half the time I don't get home.
I thought you were going to be like 4 a.m. and I was going to be
No, I do get up at 4 a.m. a lot of times, between 4 and 5, while you're going to sleep. But I getting into the real part of our lives. But no, I leave for work at like 6, and most of the time I do not get home until 6 or later. And then I have the gym, and then I have, you know, stuff that teaching life, or just regular stuff I have to get done. And so it is sometimes stressful to figure out how can I finish 5 books. But it's, for me, that's why I started picking up audiobooks. And
see, I was just thinking like I just realized like I almost never do audiobooks because even though I work at a computer, so you would think that like audiobooks would be great because I could keep working. actually, like, if I have a headache, it turns into just noise that is making my head hurt even worse.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, depending on what it is, I can like do one thing at a time. Like I can work on the computer, and then I can go and sit down on the couch, and after sitting there for 30 minutes, then I can pick up my book and read.
Right.
But like if it's like an audiobook, like just going, I'm like, oh my God, shut up.
Yeah. Well, and so for me, like, even to be able to read as much as I have, like, I have almost an hour commute both ways. And so I will make sure, like, I'll get the group read on Audible, or one of the other bigger ones, the ones that are, you know, longer.
Yeah.
And I'll pick that up on Audible, because then I can realistically get in that whole book through my 5 days of work. And then at work, I will always have a physical book. And so during lunch, which, you know, I would eat, because I mean we only get a 20-ish minute lunch period, so it's not a lot.
I remember going to that school system, because she teaches at in the county that I used to go to school in, and I remember those 20-minute lunches.
Well, yeah, I mean, because it's technically 25, but then walking down and picking up kids, blah blah blah. But yeah, so it's like 20 minutes. So I will read, and I can get a decent amount read in that 20 minutes, and then if I don't have, well, it was easier when I wasn't a special education teacher, because I've switched all over. That's a whole nother topic. But during my planning time, I mean, it's usually taken up with meetings like crazy.
Yeah.
So it depends on that day, like what I have to get done, and if I have meetings or not, because then I could get in some time with, and I'll put on the audiobook while I'm taking care of stuff in my classroom. And so that usually helps. Or I'll put it on when I'm getting ready for the day. But then, you know, I mean, so there are times, because I know it's hard, and that's what some people that are like, I have to work or any of that. And I know with you, when you were a nurse though, you were able to fit some in, weren't you, at night-ish?
Sometimes.
But rarely, I know.
Very rarely.
I was about to say,
people think night nurses have time, but
no, I know. But
I know you know.
Yeah.
But no. So my main tip was gonna be to pick, like, take those little small pockets of time that you maybe wouldn't technically read in normally, and read during those times. Another thing, I always try to pick up the books I'm gonna read during a readathon on Kindle, just because I read a lot if I'm going to bed, and so instead of looking at my phone and scrolling for 20-30 minutes, I'll read for 30 minutes. And actually, after you do that for about a week, it kind of becomes somewhat of a routine. And you know, they say you sleep better if you don't stare at a screen before you go to bed, and technically if you have a Kindle that's not a tablet too, that's technically not, it's kind of staring at a screen, but it's also not.
Right.
So
I noticed I will read while I'm fixing dinner. So that's one of the things.
When
like
you're
if
like
I'm
waiting for
pasta
stuff
or
to
something,
heat up,
or like I, instead of going and scrolling on social media or watching a video on YouTube, I was
gonna say, instead of watching
YouTube or binge watch the latest thing, I will make sure I'm reading. And I know one thing I think both of us do during a readathon, more so than in a regular week, we both purposely take baths.
I was about to say that. I was literally going to say, instead of watching YouTube at night, I'll just go take a bath.
Right, for like an hour or something, and we'll read. So, I mean, that's one thing that we have in common.
Yeah.
And so I'll purposely get in time for that. And then also with that is like using up those small pockets of time, but also participating in sprints. And I know a lot of people have questions if you're new
about like what sprints are. So essentially a reading sprint, and if you are in the writing community, they do a lot of like writing sprints. I'm sure other communities do it too. I don't know what else you could do it with. Maybe knitting. You could do like a knitting sprint.
No, I knit. I'm not really, but I do. I know how to, but I don't know if they do that.
You can't do a knitting sprint. I don't know.
No, I just watch TV while knitting.
But anyway, so basically what that is that the admin of the readathon, or whoever is wanting,
the host,
host, whatever, will like set a timer. And we do it on Facebook with the Creating Co-Book Club, but I know most do it on Twitter. And they'll just say like, oh, 15 minutes, start reading or whatever.
Like, check in.
And you read however much you can, and then you check in after with like how many pages or how like what percentage you got to in your Kindle or what have you. And so those are really good, and people love them because you're kind of like racing against the clock and racing against yourself and trying to read as much as possible. And so by the end of it, you get more done. It's also, it kind of follows like the Pomodoro method, if you've ever heard of that, which is like with studying, like you'll study for 30 minutes and then you'll take a 5-minute break. And so your 5-minute break for reading sprints is kind of when you come back in and you check in on social media, and you know, you might go to the bathroom or whatever,
grab
and then
some snacks,
and
whatever
then you
it is.
literally like sit right back down and you read, or write if you're doing a writing sprint. So yeah, a lot of people like participating in sprints,
and I think that helps quite a bit, is having that, because and also with that you can jump in at random times. It's not like you don't have to be there as soon as it starts, like you can just jump in. Like if you see, oh, they're about to finish that one, you can come in and jump in and stay and just participate in the next set time that they do.
And so yeah, you'll be more focused for shorter amounts of time, but you'll in effect get more done. So yeah, another thing you can do is try to find somebody that will do a buddy read with you. So this is essentially you're reading the same book. Some people are really I don't know what, like, structured with their buddy reads. So like they'll say like, let's read chapters 1 through whatever and discuss or whatever. I typically just like to know somebody else is reading this other book with me, and I can be like, hey, did you get to this point? And you can kind of have this like talk about the book.
And so we do that quite a bit. There's us and then a few others that will, like last year
we read all of the Philippa Gregory books.
Love them, go read them. But we read all the Philippa Gregory books
in chronological order.
Yes, and so
there's an order. Read them in chronological order.
We can post that link below because I forget who. There's a one where I found that order. So there's a website that linked them.
I think it's on Wikipedia.
Can also be on Wikipedia page. Yeah. But also, we attempted the Mortal Instruments, but see, some people finished them and were able to do it. This one did not. And I still I have all the books because like in prior times, I have to have the book. So I have all the books and I've only read 3.5 of them. So, but I mean, it helps because we can talk about it and they're like, oh, I can't wait till you get to this part, or you know, or what do you think about when this happened? And so that really helps, and it just, and a lot of, with that buddy read, that's why a lot of readathons actually have a group read. And so that way everyone's reading that same book within that week, and so you can come back and talk about it. And because the last one we did, our group read was A Curse So Dark and Lonely.
Oh, and it was so good.
Oh, read it.
It was so good.
It was amazing.
And it was so funny because like I suggested it, and when I suggested it, I didn't realize it was over 500 pages.
Right, but all of us
read it. But it was so, everybody that read it so quick.
Yes.
I mean, it was so good. I could barely put it down.
So, and that's why like it's great with the group read, especially if you're new to readathons, because then you know, if you only finish that one book, you still have all this stuff to discuss with.
And like if you finish that one book, you still read 500
You still
pages.
read 500 or 300 or whatever it happens to be.
That's not a tablet too, that's technically not, it's kind of staring at a screen, but it's also not.
Right.
So
I noticed, I will read while I'm fixing dinner. So that's one of the things.
When
like
you're
if
like
I'm
waiting for
pasta
stuff
or
to
something,
heat up,
or like I, instead of going and scrolling on social media or watching a video on YouTube, I was
gonna say instead of watching
YouTube or binge watch the latest thing, I will make sure I'm reading. And I know one thing I think both of us do during a readathon, more so than in a regular week, we both purposely take baths.
I was about to say that. I was literally going to say, instead of watching YouTube at night, I'll just go take a bath.
Right, for like an hour or something, and we'll read. So, I mean, that's one thing that we have in common. And so I'll purposely get in time for that. And then also with that is like using up those small pockets of time, but also participating in sprints. Most and I know a lot of people have questions if you're new
about like what sprints are. So essentially a reading sprint, and if you are in the writing community, they do a lot of like writing sprints. I'm sure other communities do it too. I don't know what else you could do it with. Maybe knitting. You could do like a knitting sprint.
No, I knit. I'm not really, but I do. I know how to, but I don't know if they do that.
You can't do a knitting sprint. I don't know.
No,
anyway.
I just watch TV while knitting.
But anyway, so basically what that is that the admin of the readathon, or whoever is wanting,
the host,
host, whatever, will like set a timer. And we do it on Facebook with the Creating Co Book Club, but I know most do it on Twitter. And they'll just say like, oh, 15 minutes, start reading or whatever. And you read however much you can, and then you check in after with like how many pages or how like what percentage you got to in your Kindle or what have you. And so those are really good, and people love them because you're kind of like racing against the clock and racing against yourself and trying to read as much as possible. And so by the end of it, you get more done. It's also, it kind of follows like the Pomodoro method, if you've ever heard of that, which is like with studying, like you'll study for 30 minutes and then you'll take a 5-minute break. And so your 5-minute break for reading sprints is kind of when you come back in and you check in on social media, and you know, you might go to the bathroom or whatever,
grab
and then
some snacks,
and then you literally like sit right back down and you read, or write if you're doing a writing sprint. So yeah, a lot of people like participating in sprints,
and I think that helps quite a bit, is having that, because also with that, you can jump in at random times. It's not like you don't have to be there as soon as it starts. Right. Like you can just jump in. Like if you see, oh, they're about to finish that one, you can come in and jump in and stay and just participate in the next set time that they do. And
so you'll be more focused for shorter amounts of time, but you'll in effect get more done. So another thing you can do is try to find somebody that will do a buddy read with you. So this is essentially you're reading the same book. Some people are really I don't know what, like structured with their buddy reads. So like they'll say like, let's read chapters 1 through whatever and discuss or whatever. I typically just like to know somebody else is reading this other book with me, and I can be like, hey, did you get to this point? And you can kind of have this like talk about the book.
And so we do that quite a bit. There's us and then a few others that will, like last year
we read all of the Philippa Gregory books.
Love them, go read them. But we read all the Philippa Gregory books
in chronological order.
Yes, and so
there's an order. Read them in chronological order.
We can post that link below because I forget who. There's a one where I found that order. So there's a website that linked them.
I think it's on Wikipedia.
Can also be on Wikipedia page. Yeah. But also, we attempted the Mortal Instruments. But see, some people finished them and were able to do it. This one did not. And I still I have all the books because like in prior times, I have to have the book. So I have all the books and I've only read 3.5 of them. So, but I mean, it helps because we can talk about it and they're like, oh, I can't wait till you get to this part, or you know, or what do you think about when this happened? And so that really helps, and it just, and a lot of, with that buddy read, that's why a lot of readathons actually have a group read. And so that way everyone's reading that same book within that week, and so you can come back and talk about it. And because the last one we did, our group read was A Curse So Dark and Lonely.
Oh, and it was so good.
Read it.
It was so good.
It was amazing.
And it was so funny because like I suggested it, and when I suggested it, I didn't realize it was over 500 pages.
Right. But all of us
But it was so, everybody that read it so quick.
Yes.
I mean, it was so good. I could barely put it down.
So, and that's why like it's great with the group read, especially if you're new to readathons, because then you know, if you only finish that one book, you still have all this stuff to discuss with.
And like if you finish that one book, you still read 500
You still
pages.
read 500 or 300 or whatever it happens to be. But then also, I mean, just, I think the biggest thing is remembering to have fun. That's what a readathon is supposed to be. It's a group of people that come together, and whether it's a common theme or just, you know, just read whatever.
Yeah,
it
and
helps
even-
and to have fun with it.
I feel like even if you don't finish a book that
Yeah.
week, like if you get on and like you chat with people, or like you meet a new friend, or you participate
Right.
in sprints, like it's just fun. So yeah, just don't stress about it.
No, and that's, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing we see for people just joining is they worry about fitting everything in. And like realistically, depending on when ours are, like I truly may only get half a book or one book
I
read.
am awful at the photo challenges,
Yeah.
and I'm the one who makes
Yeah.
the photo
Right,
challenges.
yeah, I was about to say we're pretty
like
bad
we
at that.
know, we know them well in advance.
Right, I mean, yeah, because of how far ahead we plan, but and so I think that's the biggest takeaway. And so like right now I'm working on my owls, and I'm also
This month I'm doing our readathon, which we'll talk about in a minute.
second.
And Tome Topple.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for Tome Topple. I'm gonna participate this time because last time I missed it. I don't remember why I missed it, but I missed it last time, and I'm gonna do it
And
this
see,
time.
I thought about it with some of the books, but I'm like, oh my gosh, can I do 3 readathons all in one? And see, that's the thing is I can, if I wanted to, because they can overlap. So like,
that's the other thing.
that's a big thing.
is
People wonder.
People will ask us quite often for our readathons, like, does it count, or like, does this book count for this prompt? And I'm like, just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Sam from Thoughts on Tomes,
Yeah.
she said this in her Tome Topple readathon vlog, or like intro video, and I totally 100% agree. Like, there's no readathon police. Nobody's
Right.
gonna come for you. Like, just if you can justify it to yourself, then it counts, and it doesn't matter.
Right, and so.
And there have definitely been some prompts I have stretched.
Yeah.
And been, like, there's been a few that even, like, she's like, okay, you do you.
And that's the thing is like they will work. Like I know, I'm trying to think of a book.
Even, so for the readathon happening in April in the Creating and Co book club, one of the prompts was a heist.
Oh yeah.
And somebody asked if a discovery of witches would count for a different prompt or whatever. And I was like, girl, I will make it count for every single prompt.
I was like, with Discovery Witches, she'll always count it for everything. And I know we've had others with the last book, the Enchantathon, which we did back in February. Some people, because we're also in the book club doing the map.
Oh yeah, we're doing
And-
like a map, and so it's like 24 different prompts. And people were asking if they could overlap. And I was like, that's up to you. Like,
Right.
I'm personally not overlapping
Yes.
because I know I'm going to read more than 24 books this whole year. And the map is like all year long.
Yeah,
but some people, that's all
Only
they can
read
that's
is
all they
24,
can
30
do.
books. Yeah, so just overlap them. And so for my owls, I have to figure it out, but my owls and the one that we're doing the book club, those are going to overlap.
Yeah.
And if
for
I
sure.
decide to do the tome, Lord help me, because it's, any
The
teacher,
Tome Topple is,
Lord.
is to read big books.
so it's over 500 pages.
Yeah.
And teachers out there, for me, I only have 33 and a half school days, so I know you feel me. And it's testing season, and I'm also the track coach, so we're in the middle of all that. So I don't know, and that's the thing, is I know all this is going on, so I'm not going to be disappointing myself if I don't finish all these.
Yeah.
And so I will overlap them in order to get as much read as I can. So,
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm like, the whole point is me reading books.
Yeah.
And I'm totally okay with being able to read anything
And
I
just,
can.
like
Having
I
fun
said,
with it.
chatting
Yeah.
with people, having fun, whatever.
Right.
So I hope this helped
Yeah.
with any of you
questions?
guys out
Yeah.
there that have asked about readathons and what they are and how to pick books and all of those fun things. Like I said, we are doing one in the Creating and Co book club. Actually, next week it starts April 22nd and goes through April 28th. It is called The Escape to Book Island. We have like this total like kind of like tropical theme going where like we're pretending we're escaping because we need an escape from
from life,
from school.
from school, and and everyone's kind of in the northern hemisphere ready for summer,
Yeah.
and just especially here, I mean,
like spring break type of time. So yeah, it's gonna be really, really fun. Our group read is gonna be Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Jenkins Reid.
I think it's Jenkins Reid.
I think it is too. I'm super excited for it. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. And order it from get the UK edition.
The UK edition is so much prettier.
So mine's coming from Book Depository. I'm sorry. That's where you can get it easily.
Yeah, that's where I got mine too.
Yeah.
And I think it covers, like we said, there's 5 prompts.
Yeah.
I don't have them in front of me right now. I should have grabbed them. But I think it covers like 4 of the prompts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So hit the thumbs up button, leave us a review, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Comment on your tips for surviving
yes,
Readathon, because
definitely.
we may need those.
And yeah, we'll be back next week with another episode. So yeah,
Thanks.
bye.